Islamism. Praise Allah. Honest to the Prophet honest to everyone, all Moorish Americans who exist in the 50 states, honest to fathers and mothers who live according to God's will, peace, freedom, and justice. Honest to all the previous people on the past shows, admiring the work that I do tirelessly and restlessly. U.S. shutdown. It's already in the manifest. They already have signs pointing to what is bound to happen. What's going to end up happening, family, is that all these food groups that they say is good food and fruits and vegetables, mainly the poisonous watermelon, all the genetic modified poison, European poison, is what's going to be the cause of the shutdown and the cause of famine and the cause of the zombie apocalypse. What you don't understand is the rich folk don't care about you. The European so-called white folk don't care about you. The Ku Klux Klan and all them so-called white power organizations don't care either. They already got their plan set up. They already know what they're going to do. They know how the agenda is going to happen and things that we need to haven't thought about fully or think about preparing ourselves and making sure we teach our children the right thing to do. We have to understand the conditions and the things that there's going to be a change. There's going to be a change in government. The Europeans are going to be in a process of leaving town. There's not going to be no more United States military. Everything that has everything to do with the resources that belong here in the United States of America, of the Republic, and not the United States democracy, District of Columbia. Now, when we understand these entities that exist, one overrides the other. We understand that 1828, the 50-year mandate is up, and the mandate has to allow foreclosure on all businesses, all government entities, such as the Federal Bureau of Investigations, and so on and so on. Everything has to have some type of shutdown to renew, to bring justice to the people. Now, while all this stuff is going on, the troops and military are already prepared to stand by grocery stores, warehouses, and not let anybody go anywhere to get something to eat. Which means that the people who are quick to eat fast food and be dependent on Medicare, Medi-Cal, that's all going to come to an end. All those ones who are dependent on cash aid and food stamps, that's going to come to an end too. Anything that has anything to do with pacifying the people, of not having self-reliance and independence from the District of Columbia, but yet and still they choose to leave their home to go elsewhere, but yet and still, those people either, number one, are going to be forced to come back here and deal with it head on, or number two, they're going to suffer and they're going to pass a physical form at wherever they got their residency at. These are the things that I'm aware of. These are the things that I understand. But I'm not going to leave my home, the USA, for another nation. Islam, peace and blessings. Kenna. Oh, we got Zach. Oh, praise Allah. I'm explaining about the shutdown, Zach. Peace and blessings to you, Zach. This is going to be the shutdown that they keep propagating over the media and social media and stuff. And for all those people who are immigrants, including Europeans, they have already sent messages out that they're going to have to give up their homes and return back to Europe. And this is what is bound to happen, whether people like it or not, because even the Asians who were here, were here and did the status of being a U.S. citizen, that has no connection to being a United States of America citizen whatsoever, because there's two different entities. And once the brothers and sisters start understanding, again, there's two different entities. One represents the indigenous people of North America, of Turtle Island, which the Iroquois and all these native tribes are all of Moorish descendant. And once we understand the difference between the republic and the democracy, we understand that one serves for the best interest of we the people, and the other one serves the best interest of themselves, but they say they serve for the best interest of we the people. So one is telling the truth and one is deceiving. And once we understand that the United States of America belongs to Morocco, of the Al-Malik al-Maghribi, which is the founding father of this nation, and the indigenous people who are indigenous to the land, but not only that, they are a servant of this royal majesty, Sultan of Morocco, Sidi Muhammad, which now is the ruler right now, which is King Muhammad the Fifth, I think, of the Al-Malik al-Maghribi, which is the Kingdom of Morocco. While we're here on this side, having access in the deed to the land of the Empire of Morocco, which creates America, which basically Great Britain has no authority over. We as Asiatics, Moorish Americans, or so-called Negro blacks and colors, or Chicano Hispanics, should not be celebrating 4th of July, because that was the independence for the Europeans who came here from Europe and Great Britain through the slave boat to be free from Great Britain, because the Europeans were being taxed. You see what I'm saying? So this has nothing to do with the allegiance of the people to Britain, because it's irrelevant. Those taxes have nothing to do with us. Those tariffs have nothing to do with us. That's between Europe and London. Now, if people think I'm lying, then why is it that when you look at the signing of the Declaration of Independence, that picture. Now, if you look towards the back of the picture, they have two different types of flags there. And one represents Great Britain and the other one represents London. So how are those Europeans Americans when they don't even have any naturalization papers? They took the land after it was granted to them to govern for 50 years, and then the contract was to be revisited between the Moorish people who were indigenous to the land to re-sign a contract for another 50-year mandate. Well, it's quite unfortunate that the time is up. Until their brothers and sisters understand that America does not belong to the Caucasian so-called white people of Europe, it belongs to the true white people state of mind of Moorish people who will practice the 5 highest principles known to man, which is love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Now, we're talking about a state of mind of people, not a so-called skin complexion or a misnomer or some type of fraudulent information that's supposed to be given to the people who granted these privileges through law. But all in all, again, they took away the names of the Moorish people. They took upon their names so that way they could be head of the plantation or the land that belongs to the indigenous Moorish people. When people start understanding where these things come from, then they can be able to understand, oh no, the only slave name I have is Negro, colored, black, Afro-American, African-American, Latino, Chicano, Hispanic, Puerto Rican, Costa Rican, Filipino, Guam, Solomon Islands, Hawaii, and everything else that is included under that type of democracy. Democracy is the one that controls the people's thinking as far as indoctrination to tell you what to believe and what not to believe without having any proof of evidence that these supposed to be facts that are inaccurate. And all in all, they're lying because they want the ones to continue to have access to the land so that way they can get all the inventions from us and they can be the ones that can't claim credit for it as they have so in the past. When the brothers and sisters who are so-called Negro, blacks, and colors are going to open their eyes and see that the German has his land and his descent flag and his constitution where he's from, and the Yugoslavian and different parts of Europe who are European, the Greeks, the Romans, the Italians, the Portuguese, the French, the Russian, because they're always rushing. I speak these facts for a reason because a lot of brothers and sisters are still claiming those titles of crayon. Black. I'm black and you're white. You're superior to me because you're my friend. And I'm black because I'm inferior to you. In other words, whatever you say go, I'm your slave Negro. And I follow what you say. And everything you say is right because you're a white. And this is what information is being passed down to the people. You can't continue to call someone a name until they deserve and earn the title from it. Moorish as a nationality. We're the ones who drafted the Constitution. We're the ones who drafted the Bill of Rights. We're the ones who had the Europeans sign if they agreed to it, and they did. So that tells you the ones who documented everything are the ones that are the chief protectors of America. And it's sad to say they're not European. This may sound like it's hateful, but what is it supposed to do? You probably will be asking your brother man Moorish life. What it's supposed to do is supposed to uplift the state of mind of the so-called Negro, blacks, and coloreds, that you do have a nationality, and you refuse to call yourself black, because if you look at yourself in the mirror and you put on a black shirt and compare it with your skin tone of shade of beautiful skin of olive, that you're not the color of what you're wearing or the crayon color itself. And when you start understanding that this is fraudulent information to put you back into physical bondage of slavery, which means that they can come and arrest you any given time because they feel like it. And why, you may ask? Because you have identified through the Census Bureau that you are African American and you're black. But you say it means the same thing. I say it doesn't. You can't be born in two continents. And for someone to be black, you have to be pale, like on the verge of passing in physical form. But I guess a group of common people are not paying attention. Your so-called white folk and the Europeans offended because of what information I'm exposing. Until you understand that you was born how you were born, you can't alter that and change that. And if you do, and this is it, this is the truth right here. If you alter what you say you are, do you know that's penalty of perjury? Because you haven't gone through the necessary steps to amend your birth certificate, supposedly, allegedly. So now you're saying that the doctor is lying, that you're not born a woman, but you're born a man, and that means that the doctor could be sued for malpractice and also penalty of perjury. Brother JJ, Islam. I'm going to call the facts what it is. That's what I'm going to do. See, my thing is this. I'm Moorish American. I'm your brother man Moorish life. And guess what? I'm protected under the first 10 amendments of the Constitution and the Bill of Rights. I'm protected under the Peace and Friendship Treaty of 1786. I'm protected under the United States of America Constitution and all these three additional instruments that I adhere to. I don't adhere to being black, because black is evil. Black is known as a misnomer. So what do you do if you want to change your status? These things you have to question. Because if you don't question these things and don't come up with the proper solution, then that means you're going to be left out and you're going to be done more physical harm because you failed to proclaim your nationality and to be recognized as an American citizen. But what if you don't want to be recognized as an American citizen? Hey, that's your thing. I don't have time to be messing around with words and misleading people. It takes too much negative energy to do all that. When you said number 7 is a 7, it's a 7. I'm not going to call it any other number. If the number is 1, it's 1. If 2 plus 2 is 4, then I'm correct. There's not going to be no change in the community because they themselves refuse to change their thinking that there's other opportunity other than just what they think they are. When you start understanding laws, start doing your homework and your research, then you're going to understand the difference between yourself. You're going to be telling the difference between yourself and your peers and your peoples. Not everybody can get this information, but it's up to you to decide, are you going to do better or not? There's so much to think about. There's so much planning to do for your future. What legacy do you have to leave your grandbabies? You don't have anything? Your car? That thing ain't gonna work no more by the time they get of age and you pass your physical form. What does game banging do for you when you get locked up? What laws do they go under? Street knowledge, they ain't gonna do that for you. Again, my brothers and sisters out there need to start thinking and start looking up why the majority of the people here got nationality, other people are left out. If you don't think about your actions and reactions, then you're going to be the one to suffer more than anybody else. There's no more room for failure, family. You've been beat down long enough as so-called Negro, blacks, and coloreds. But you have to raise yourself up. You have to raise your thoughts up. If the religious organization that you're in right now has nothing to do for you, then leave it. I'm going to tell you what I know. Things that happen to us in situations, whether it was ordained for us to be there, it was supposed to happen. Now the question is about being cool and not losing your cool. There's a lot of work that needs to be done instead of chasing after folly and luxury and all that sort of stuff. Trust me, I know. When you start looking at things on TV, you gotta make a decision. You gonna cut it off, or you gonna listen to the folly that they have to say? Certain things may not be accurate if you purchase, not are what they see. They might pull the okie doke on you. You never know. Buyer beware. Be careful of what you consume, because it will be a test to you at the end of your lifespan. So the beautiful thing about this life is don't be trying to be a hoarder. Try to make for sure that you have your land. Make sure you have your 90-day supply worth of food. Make sure you're growing your own food, because that's the best option. That's the best route. It's like there's nothing else to do. When are the brothers and sisters going to grow up and stop acting like children? There's only so. What you want them to do? Feed you and hold your hand and change your diaper? Or are you going to grow up and learn from their errors, so that way you can be the best person you can be? You'll be a better husband, a better wife. That's what I have to say. If we don't plan for the future, we're not going to have a future. Okay, you got something to say. Correction, we're not wiped out 500 years ago. No, we're not. I don't know, Randy French. I don't know what you're talking about. That doesn't make any sense. How we wiped out 500 years ago when we're still here? We've always been here. Whether we classify as Negro, black, or color or not, we've always been here. I don't care what you say, because it's not true. Well, I'm going to put it like this. I'm more than a warrior, my brother. I'm a brother who's very advanced. More than what you think. And it's not about being tough. It's about having knowledge and uplifting people. Not slander and defamation of character, as you say. So you can sit here and come at me with these questions all you want. I'll be happy to answer them for you. I mean, if you don't think that that we're have anything to do with civilization, uplifting and building civilization and recognizing America as a nation, then I think there's something wrong with your studying. I think there's something wrong with the information you're receiving. Whether you choose to study it or not, or whether you care or not, all is well. I believe that's up to your discretion. I believe that's up to your thinking, because guess what? The word land in the etymology 1828 dictionary means more. The word America in the 1828 dictionary means olive, basically copper skin. So any copper skinned people who are American are not so-called white people. They're Moorish. We sell the oceans. We civilized nations. Matter of fact, Europe had not over 100% illiteracy, where to the point where they had no language, especially in the Iberian Peninsula, which the name was later changed Spain. And Spanish came from Arabic, whether you know it or not. French came from Arabic, whether you know it or not. All the languages of Europe were developed by the Moors, because we were the first teachers. We're the masters. We're the superior. We're the superior to Europeans. That's who we are. But until the Negro, blacks, and colors understand that, then they will be out of law. But these things have to be taught to the brothers and sisters, because all they're going to get is second-class citizen leftover garbage food, hog mugs, chitterlings, these foods that have these so-called soul decapitated food that serves the people, brothers and sisters, no purpose but death, heart attack, Alzheimer's disease. All these foods are European farmer foods, something that we should not be eating. We had our own school. We still got our own school. Resurrection of the Moorish Nation was in 1913. Whether you know it or not. Last Moorish stronghold fell in 1492. Okay, yeah. But the Moorish people this land was already developed before the Europeans got here. How you think Los Angeles became Los Angeles? How you think Chicago became Chicago? How you think New York became New York? Why do you think once it's game banging? Because this is what the slaveholder taught the slaves to do. Is to get drunk and game banging on the plantation. That's where game banging kind of started. That's where these red and blue rags got started. I mean, let's call the facts what it is, right? I mean, my thing is this. I don't have time to debate nobody. Now, if these PhDs want to try to debate me, come on, let's go. Let's do it. Because they're not going to win. If these so-called white people, who are supposedly, allegedly white, then let me ask this question, like I always ask. Where is their constitution? Where is their military? Where are their laws? I ask these questions, but I never get a response. So obviously, it's just like the yellow pages, like I said before. If it's not in there, in any library at Congress or any information, maybe it doesn't exist. Maybe it's an illusion to your conclusion. Or maybe it's not. Or maybe you keep yelling white power and thinking you're winning. And the reason why these Europeans hate the Moors is because, or the so-called Negro, blacks, and colors, is because they're afraid that we're going to take over and we're going to get back in power again. That's why they act the way they do. That's why they want us to be subservient to them. That's why they want us to continue to be pumped up with fear, so that way we can be inferior as so-called Negro, blacks, and colors to so-called white people. Now, let me ask you a question. Where's the white nation at? And if there was a white nation, wouldn't there be a white flag? And if there's a white flag, wouldn't there be a constitution connected to that white flag? And if the so-called black people were black, and they had a black flag, and they had a constitution, now let me ask you this question. Isn't it obvious that white and black is the same pieces on the chessboard? Isn't it obvious that white goes first and black goes second on the chessboard? But we all have to understand the etymology of these words in order to understand who created chess. And it was not the Europeans. Europeans are not that articulated. They're not that articulate, and they're not really that intelligent. The only one who taught them how to cook food was Moorish people. The one who taught them how to read and write is Moorish people. So they couldn't do it themselves. So how did they get in power? Oh, I'm sorry. It was manipulation. So if people don't understand where this information came from and where this education came from, and let me ask you something. Who is the most highly intelligent European out of Europe? Not one. You know why? Because there was no universities and no schools in Europe after the Crusades of the year of 711, and that's why you got the 711 store, because you see red and you see green represent in the number 11, the word 11, and then on top of the 7 you see something that says yellow, which represents a Moorish flag, which is the red flag with the 5-pointed green star in the center, which has yellow fringes, which means that Moorish are operating in business and commerce. Now, if you want to look at another sign and symbol, look at the Chevron gas station. Look at the symbol. Look at the chevrons. The chevron is red pointing down, blue pointing down. These are the chevrons, the same ones that they use in the military that the Europeans have copied from the Arabic numerals, which represent 7. So that's 2 chevrons. That means 2 sevens. There you go. Boom. Can't make this up. You talking to a Moorish teacher now. You talking to a sheik. That's who I be. That's who I am. Let me see what you said. The Constitution exists. First and foremost, brother, I ain't your pal. And say whatever I want. No, I speak truth. I speak facts. And I can back up everything I said. And I can take your whole paycheck, I can take your whole land and everything, and I can guarantee you that you won't be left with nothing. But since I'm about love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, I won't do that. But all I gotta do is just give you the receipts and prove everything I'm saying to you. And you can do your own homework yourself, whether you choose to or not. But you know what? My thing is this: you have a problem with authority of truth, and my authority derives from Allah. And guess what? Allah speaks the truth, and truth is all, and all is Allah. Truth does not change or pass away. So everything I give it to you, you can look it up yourself. So you can just do your homework. Europeans don't run me. Russians don't run me. The Jewish community don't run me. I'm going to tell you that guaranteed. Moorish American Muslims to the fullest. Ancient Moabites and Canaanites who inhabited northern, southern, western shores of Africa. This side of Africa, which is America. Al-Malik, Al-Maghribi, which is that side of Africa. Right? Now, this side of Africa is the western shores of Africa, which is the Empire of Morocco. Al-Moroccan. America. See, you can play the show back and humble yourself and be a good student and follow the information I'm giving you all. And this is why I'm here. I'm not here to sit here and cause quarrels with nobody. I'm just sitting here to give y'all the information so that way y'all can do the homework yourself. The Sultan of Morocco, Sidi Muhammad, 1786 was the first one to recognize America as a nation, not some European peasant of Europe or so-called white folk thereof, perhaps, whatever you want to call it. So my thing is this: we can sit here and go toe to toe, we can go back and forth, and everything that you have read in school was a lie. It's deceit. All it is to promote more so-called white supremacy for the so-called Europeans to have self-esteem, which they have low self-esteem to begin with. A lot of them don't really care for Moorish people too much, and all they want to do is just harass us. Not all of them, but majority of them. And then there's some of them when I walk through the courthouse, oh, that's a nice fez you have on your head. Oh, they know who I am. Now the peon people who are Europeans don't know who I am. They don't know. They're so dumb. They don't even know that a wrap on my head that I wear on my head is actually a turban, which is a religious headdress that's a symbol of nobility. We can sit here and go back and forth about he said, she said. He said, she said, and they say, it means nothing to me. You can sit here and indoctrinate our people with information that has no basis of facts. And then you want to back up the Rothschild Rockefellers and the 13 family gangster bangers, booty bangers, child pedophiles, and create a historical black college called Spelman, which was named after Rothschild's wife, or Rockefeller's wife, Spelman, her maiden name. So how is that supposed to be uplifting the people? And then on top of that, we have a so-called Greek society that talks about fraternity and sorority. Isn't that what the Masonic order is? A fraternity? Isn't that what the Easter Star is? Is a sorority? That's the same thing that they pledge Greek in these Omega Psi Phi's and all these other Kappas, Kappa Alpha Psi and all this other stuff. And let me not go there with pi. Come on now. Let me not go there with that. That's not even a Greek letter. It's a mathematical symbol that represents 3.14. It's the circumference of a circle. Come on now. I don't understand how ones think that these things that belong to them was already being... The Greeks were the students. The Europeans were students to the masters of the Moorish people. They were students to us. You cannot override a master. We could throw circles around y'all. We throw circles around y'all and then y'all be lost in the sauce. And this is not hate. This is the truth. You can't be... Man, y'all just have no idea. I got so much homework on the Europeans, it's not even funny. The Vatican Roman Catholic Church is connected, number one, to the Masonic Order and the Eastern Star, which is also connected to the Jewish community of the Jewish Synagogues of Satan, which is also connected to Israel. They're all connected. They're all connected to these corporations, and the root word of corporation is corpse, which means dead. Marine corpse. Oh, that's bad. That's not good. Black means pale in etymology, and there's no such thing as a black people who are olive hue, melanated Moors. It's irrelevant. And the proof is the only group of people on the face of this earth who are descendant of Europe, who are pale skinned, are European so-called white folks, which they played a game called Trading Places, who called themselves white, and they called us black. So-called. I'm not going to sit here and give them no power and call them white. For what? They're not white. White means purity. Purity means God, and God means rule of the land. Now, why would I call them white and they don't even have a white nation? Where's the white nation at? Where's the black nation at? It doesn't exist. These thoughts and these words don't mean nothing. They're misnomers. This is why the educational system here in America is not the best, because guess what? They're indoctrinated with falsehood, with European history that has no basis of facts of truth. And you was a guarantee to take this to the courthouse. I guarantee you, y'all would lose, and the Moorish Americans will win hands down with no interruption. You cannot sit here and tell me that a group of people who are colonists are white and this is their land. You can't prove it. Where are the receipts? Show me the paperwork. Show me. Give me some information. What you got off the top of your dome? Because I studied this for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, yo. I know who the colonists are. Yeah, get this. Mount Rushmore. Oh, okay. So they call it Mount Rushmore because it's, number one, mountain. Two, they rush the Moors to put their faces back up there. I'm putting two and two together. Y'all can say what y'all like. Now, the question is, how much information do you have? What do you have to bring to me? The only group of people who are racist is European so-called white folk. The so-called Negro blacks and colors don't have no political power to be able to smuggle drugs into community and to be able to harass people and lynch people and grope on their women and sodomize the indigenous people so that way we can accept Christianity. Number two, take the babies away from the indigenous mother and make the baby alligator bait, so that way y'all can have alligator shoes. How evil is that? And then lynch us? Then lynch our mothers and take the baby out and stomp it out? Are you serious right now? Are you truly serious right now? Because guess what? I got all kinds of dirt on Europeans. Well, I don't know what you're talking about, but you just strictly just cursed yourself. You said Allah hasn't been doing very well at war lately. What are you talking about? That doesn't make any sense. I had a friend. Okay, so that, whatever. You're not American if you ain't proclaim your nationality. That's number one. What is the relevance to what you're saying, French? And that's what you are. You're French, right? You're European, right? I mean, you can say what you like, but I mean, you can sit here and try to go toe to toe and back and forth with me, but you're not gonna win with me. And if you're European, yeah, that's believe. Yeah, ICE is coming after all of y'all. And y'all gonna be deported. Okay, man, I'm American, and I had an African friend, and he didn't like Morocco. Whatever, bro. Whatever. You're talking gibberish, man. You don't like Morocco, but we're in Morocco right now. You're not American. If you're European, you're definitely not American. Where's your naturalization paperwork then? Where's your paperwork saying that you're American? If you so-called white. Where is it? Prove it. I'm waiting. Jews got giant, gays got tiny. What the sweet mother? Man, you just lost it. Randy French, you need to go on a timeout, buddy. Because you know why? You're speaking gibberish. That's what you're doing. And these people can't drive. Let's see. These ones is straight nutso. They gonna mess up their ride. Man, I swear, y'all just... Islam. I'm out, family. Peace and love.